everybody, this is Jeanne. This is what I've been busy with this week. I've been making a St. Patrick's Day journal. And not just for this year, but, you know, as future St. Patrick's Day comes along, I have a spot for those things that I run across during the year. Because, like I say, I have no idea what I'll find at the bins, and I often find things way out of season, and I don't know really where to put them, so now I have a journal for anything I find that is St. Patrick's oriented. So anyway, so this has been really fun. What I did is I just took a piece of cardboard and put two bins in it for a spine and covered it with a napkin that I found at the bins. And then I happened to have printed this out, and it printed way too big for what I was going to use it for. And so it was perfect for the cover, but it was even too big for the cover. So hence, half of it is on the back, which is fine. And I kind of like it that way. I would have liked to have kept his whole hand, but I'd rather keep the rest of him here. Oh, gosh. I've got glue and everything on my hands. I have been playing and playing, waiting to make this video because I wanted to keep adding things to it. So anyway, it has two signatures, and it can have more because the signatures are just put in with elastic bands. So I can add a signature if I need to later. But I have a feeling that it'll get nice and fat, so I may not need it. So anyway, this is kind of like my flip through Friday. And oh, already I can see I have an issue. And I'll have to work at that later. But I kind of I had this card, it's been hanging around. Celebrate is really probably for birthday, but hey, let's celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And it fits right into this pocket. I didn't really know what to do with the pockets with all this extra fabric, and so I just folded it up and made some pockets on this side and a pocket in the back. And at the end of the video, I'll show you a few clips of how I went about making it. But really, my clips are so bad. I was going to just make a how to make my video, how to make this journal, and the clips were bad, so I just didn't. I love this paper because it had shamrocks on it. It's the only paper I had was shamrocks. Now this is, I did a swap for March. And it was just supposed to be green, and it could include anything. And this one came in with a St. Patrick's Day theme. And some of the goodies. This is from Beth Schuler. And I have glued some of the stuff in and just put everything that she sent me on this very first page. And it was kind of fun choosing the pages, what I wanted to do. And my intent was, when I made it, was to use up some of this scrapbook paper that I've had forever. And like this particular piece is a calendar. But anyway, so I've you know, glued some of this down and some of it not. Some of it, I very carefully cut everything. And then when it was too big, and I tried to trim it with scissors, and of course I made everything crooked. But I live and die by crooked, actually. I do like things that are not perfect, so this works out great. It actually looks better when it's in there just right. But I think it'll be fine. And this is a little pocket. Let's see if I've got something here that I can stick in like that. Stick in the pocket. And this was my second swap from Barbara Batzer, and she also went with a St. Patrick's Day theme, which was kind of nice, but this fit nicely in here. She sent me a nice piece of green paper, which I cut out some shamrocks and put that on. And I do like this with the gold at the end of the rainbow and a shamrock at the top. So anyway, so that was that. Just some extra pages. I had a Madeline book that I bought at the bins. It was all torn up. So I rescued that, and some of it worked out nicely here, just because I love Madeline. This again is another tuck spot, and these pages are all ready to decorate. And this was another thing I picked up the bins, and it makes a nice belly band, and I really loved it. I actually had it hanging on. I actually had it hanging on the top, but it broke. So I don't know what I did to break it. But anyway, I thought, oh, it looks really good on there, and I was happy with that. So all these pages are ready to be decorated. And that's the end of the first signature. And this second signature here is the same as the first signature cover page, which is nice because it has the shamrock. I had 2 pages of that shamrock. Some nice green paper. And again, I can trim up things and make the pages a lot straighter as I work on them. But I was just having too much fun. Some black stars, some more green and red, which I liked. I love that kind of spooky page. This is a page where I should put goblins and fairies and leprechauns on because they live in the forest where it's all weird at night. Another piece of this I'll probably glue down. I glued down one already, and so that'll probably be glued down. Again, the cover of Madeline, and it's just glued on there. It's not a belly band. And another weird character that could be an old Irish guy. I'm just sure of it. And the other side of the calendar, I don't like upside down numbers and letters, and I was going to cover it, and I realized, oh my gosh, this didn't quite cover it. And then I thought, well, it's okay because everything I put on it will cover it later. And a little pocket with a tag that I made, which may forever stay in there because I glued it and then I put it in there. This was the ACT I sent for the swap. I sent a similar one to everybody. And then this page and this page again. And another little picture of Madeline on the back cover. And I had a bag of buttons that I picked up at the bins, and there were 2 green ones. So I've used one, and I still have one more to use. This one also, that's the back, has one small pocket that goes quite deep. So anyway, so that is my St. Patrick's Day. My St. Patrick's Day journal that I'm going to use every year. And it's going to have, I haven't quite figured out the closure, but for now it's just going to have a elastic closure. So here's the part where I'm going to do a voiceover and just kind of show you how I made the book. I started out with a napkin, a cloth napkin that I found at the bins. And I think I actually have 2 or 3 of them. And I know I definitely have another one because I've already run across it. And I glued it on there with Mod Podge, and it came through. The Mod Podge came through because it's kind of a loose weave, inexpensive napkin, I guess, probably. So I went ahead and I picked out the image. Like I said, I had printed it for something else and decided it would work great on this, and So I put it on there, and since I was Mod Podging the image on there, I Mod Podged all the way. Can I say Mod Podge again? I put the glue on all over the book. It isn't quite even, so I'm going to do another coat this week sometime, and put another coat on the outside. But I really like how it feels, and it's kind of washable, and it's not going to get the fabric isn't going to get dirty and smudged and all that. So I kind of like how that works. I had this extra fabric, and I was going to just cut it off, which would be fine. You could do that and put it on there. But I thought, well, let me see if I can't fold this up and make some folds and make a couple of pockets out of it. So I kind of worked that, and I ended up, as you saw, I made diagonal pockets instead of putting it straight up, just because it was easier. See how I folded? Well, no, I guess I didn't do it there. But later on, you'll see I did fold it in diagonal fashion, and that way there wasn't any that I had to cut off. So that worked out great. I went through my stash of papers and picked out anything that had any green in it. Green, brown, blue, green, green, bright green, green and pink. And I had a lot of different kinds of papers, and they really didn't blend, but they don't really need to in this kind of a journal. And one thing I did, I had some beautiful greens and browns and vintage looking papers, and I didn't use most of them. I used the one with the shamrocks on it, and but most everything else I kept pretty much hopefully to the primary colors, because see how this is where I showed you how I folded it. And also I think I put this is where I put the ruler in to show you how big that pocket was. It's a very small pocket, but it's deep. And so, yeah, so I can put something in there. I'm sure I'll find the right thing, even if it's a long pencil or a long ruler, just to have a ruler in there. I don't know. But anyway, I went through and I picked out all the papers, and I pretty much decided to go with the brighter colors because the cover is primary. It's not a vintage cover. And although I do have some vintage papers in it, it's a Mod Podge, a hodgepodge. I'll get it. Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of papers from my stash that I just want to use up, and I've had them forever. And I tend to use magazines more than I tend to use patterned paper for scrapbooks. So, and the papers are just beautiful. I love them. So I was glad to have an opportunity to really use them, and I'll cover them up, of course, with things that I glue in. But it's nice to have them looking nice, and the pretty colors and the pretty patterns and everything until they get filled up. Now I had this one piece. You can see where I folded that one piece of cardboard and made a spine. And like I say, I made too big of a spine. It shouldn't have been a couple inches. An inch spine would have been much better. But I did it that way, and then used some black paper to cover that one section. And as you see, I glued it down nicely, but it didn't take, and I've had to make a little repair on it. But I think it'll be okay. I'm not gonna fuss over that too much. It doesn't really show, but the black paper was perfect since it didn't cover all the way to the top, and I'm very happy with it. Now I ended up, instead of putting binding the papers in and sewing it, because I just bought a new kit to do that, I decided to use elastic bands. And they're the ones that you clip onto a card, and they have clips on both sides. I just cut off the clips on either side, and I had a nice elastic band, and then I cut that in half, and it made 2. So instead of doing 4 signatures like I thought I would do, I thought I'd just do 2 now and add extra bands later as I needed them. And I did find a package of doilies, so that was nice. Now this was my first swap that came in that you saw briefly on there. And then here is where I decided to glue in this piece of tapestry that I found at the bins. And I picked it up and I liked it, and I thought, well, I didn't know what I would do with that, but I thought, it's flat enough, it'll fit into a journal. So I brought it home, and it's been kicking around for a while, and I think it's just perfect. I'm very happy with it, especially next to these medieval people. So it's got this very old world Irish look to it. And I used that cutter to make the hole at the top and put the ring in it. Can't think of what they call that now. For some reason that's escaped me. But I glued this down like a belly band, and so it actually works really nice. But for some reason, in between the time I did this and the time I came back today, somewhere along the line, I had one of those rings had caused the thing to crack. So I glued it down at the top as well. I originally had only glued it at the bottom because it was tied at the top. So now I had to glue it at the top as well. So anyway, that's that, and we've already passed that, and I'm still talking about it. This paper here I crumpled up because I was going to coffee dye it, and I thought, no, I'm going to put this nice crumpled paper in over these upside down numbers. So that was good. That was really good to do. And that's how that came about. So anyway, the rest of this is just where I was just putting the pages in and adding a little decorations, which you've already seen how they came out and what I put in. Oh, and there's that little there's that little tag that got stuck in the pocket. So if I never get it out, there it is. Now you can see the whole tag. How fortunate is that? But anyway, I'm happy to have this nice St. Patrick's Day Shamrock journal. I just think I want to visit Ireland. I'm 15% Irish. I'm not Catholic, but I have a lot of Catholic. My grandfather was Catholic, and I love to go to Catholic Mass. I feel very at peace in a Catholic Mass. Unlike I'm generally attend a Baptist church, and that's a whole different kettle of fish. So anyway, yes, I love St. Patrick's Day, and I have great memories of being a kid and wearing green, and woe to any child who didn't wear green on St. Patrick's Day. It was just a fun, loving celebration, and the room mothers came in with cupcakes and special napkins even as a kid, I loved special napkins with leprechauns on them, and we all made in different years, we made our placemats and put shamrocks and rainbows and all that on them. So I just have good memories of growing up with St. Patrick's Day. And then as a young mom, I didn't really do a whole lot, but you know what I did is every year on St. Patrick's Day, I made Irish stew for dinner. And none of the kids remember that. I guess I just didn't make a big deal out of it, but it just pleased me to make Irish stew for dinner. And now I didn't go the whole hog and make the special bread and all that kind of stuff. I didn't decorate. I didn't do anything. It was just enough for me to enjoy the fact that I made Irish stew on St. Patrick's Day every year. And there probably were a year or two I missed. But anyway, so I'm rambling here, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and close this because you can kind of see how I put this together now. And it gives you a good idea if you ever want to make a special journal for just a special holiday that you can keep adding things to. I ended up completely deleting my voiceover, and so I'm doing it again, and I'm not going to voice over this whole thing because there's a lot of decorating here I had some footage of, but no need to do that. Oh, I will mention I do love to use the skeletons after I pull the all the stickers off, because this particular one is fun to use because the green around the edges is very shimmery and pretty, and they're all little shamrocks there. So I was happy to save that and use that. But anyway, I'm going to go, and I'm going to let you guys go. And I appreciate all of you who stayed all the way to the end, as usual. And even if you came back later and listened, replayers, very, very happy to have you come back and see what all went on to the end of the video, even if you didn't have time to watch it all the way through the first time around. So, yeah, you can like and share it and subscribe, and hopefully it'll inspire you guys to make something special for your St. Patrick's Day celebration later on this week. Alrighty, I will talk to you guys later. Hey, love you. Bye-bye.